Although the congestion of Japan's rush hour trains has eased a little, it is still an ordeal for many. But it's very unusual to hear people complaining during their daily commute. In meetings too, Japanese rarely put forward their own opinions forcefully. When they meet, they bow deeply to each other. This custom is thought to derive from the nation's agricultural past. For over 2,000 years, the Japanese have lived by growing rice in paddy fields dug in the plains or carved from the mountain slopes. Rice was originally a tropical plant, so cultivating it successfully in temperate Japan required a lot of careful study and experimentation. Because of the country's complex and varied geography, suitable growing methods had to be developed and adapted for each different region. Preparations for rice planting begin in spring, when the cherry blossoms come into flower. In Japan, rice seeds are not sown directly in the paddy fields. First, they are germinated in greenhouses until the seedlings are strong enough to be transplanted. This method, developed over many years, allows tropical rice to be grown in colder regions. Water is the essential element in the Japanese paddy field method. Each village shares a water source and a network of irrigation channels. The water flows from the high fields to the low, flooding each in turn. Flooding the fields avoids the problems of continuous cropping and enables a field to bear rice every year. It is the sharing of the water supply that makes rice cultivation possible. Fields watered from a common source are the mechanism driving people to work together. Selfish personal use is impossible. Fields made like this also act as reservoirs to store water. Advances in agricultural mechanization mean that transplanting the rice seedlings is now all done by machine, except in paddies on steep mountainsides. But as recently as 40 years ago, all this back-breaking work was done by hand, which made mutual cooperation essential. If one field becomes infected by insects or disease, it threatens all the fields of the village. Good harvests could only be achieved if the fields were carefully tended, using the skills of the most experienced farmers. But every year, Japanese rice farmers face a severe trial before the harvest. Japan lies in the temperate monsoon belt and is swept by typhoons from summer to early autumn. This means that heavy rains and winds threaten the rice in the period just before the harvest. Flood control has always been important in mountainous Japan with its swift flowing rivers. Building and repairing embankments is another task that villagers have to work on together. Autumn. After 6 months cultivating their rice, farmers heave a sigh of relief when it's safely harvested. Rice has long been the staple food of the Japanese people. In the old days, reaping the rice too was a communal task for all the village. Centuries of working together, praying together, and celebrating together at harvest time. The rice cultivating culture instilled a strong sense of community. Harvest Thanksgiving festivals are still held all over the country. 150 years ago, 80% of Japanese worked on the land. Today, only a small proportion are still rice farmers, but the spirit that grew from rice farming, of living in harmony with nature and working as a community, is still strong. For an example, let's go to the village of Shirakawa in Gifu Prefecture in the heart of Japan. The houses here feature a unique style of large, steeply sloping thatched roof. There used to be about 300 of them in the village, but over the past 50 years, the number has declined to 114. The steep pitch of the roofs prevents snow from building up on the thatch. A coat of thatch lasts for 70 or 80 years. Rethatching is an impossible task for one family, so the whole village would turn out to help in a typical expression of the communal life. However, today's lifestyles mean that people have less spare time, and this custom died out. But in 2001, the Nagase family decided to try to revive the old custom. To thatch a house in one day needs 400 people. Zenjiro Nagase and his mother visited 170 village families to ask for help.
屋根拭きのお願いに上がってんけども、
わざわざどうも。
いい、そうです。
大変ですね。ありがとうございます。
来月4月の28日土曜日なんやけども、朝7時半から拭かしてもらいたいと思いますんで、うちまた屋根を拭かしてもらいたいもんで、また一つ厄介かけますけども、またよろしくお願いいたします。本川さんのところ合唱じゃないんやけど、まあこんなお願いするのも本当に厚かましいとは思うんやけど、また一つ助けてほしいもんで、
わかりました。
お願いします。
また行きますので、
よろしくお願いします。
ご苦労様です。
雨降ったら29日次の日になるもんで。
次の日になるんですか。わかりました。
すいません。
じゃあ2日とも開けときます。
すいません、それはありがとうございます。朝7時半からでさ。
はい、わかりました。
すいません。よろしくお願いします。お願いします。
At last, it's the day of the thatching. Zenjiro doubted that 400 people would come, but in fact 500 turn up, including some from outside the village. Each bundle of thatch is passed hand to hand up to the roof by a chain of dozens of people. School children and old-timers take part too. "12,000 bundles of thatch have been prepared. They all have to be the same thickness. There are people under the roof too. Working in close coordination with the people outside, they use ropes to bind the thatch securely in place. This village has a special method for tying the knots so they will never come loose. The women are just as busy. 40 of Nagase's relatives and neighbours are preparing 2,000 meals. The name of everyone who came to help is carefully written down to keep a record of people's kindness in offering assistance without reward. At last, the work is almost complete. Thanks to the help of all these people, the house has a beautiful new thatched roof. The villagers say there's a mystic quality to the shared experience of thatching. After you've helped with someone's roof, it will always be partly your roof too. 8.5 hours after they began work, the roof is finished.
Today, 本日は早朝より屋根葺きにご参加くださいまして本当にありがとうございました。やっと皆様のおかげでやっと我が家にも春が来ました。本当に重ね重ねありがとうございました。
What we see here is how easily people can return to the old Japanese village traditions of mutual aid.
人間のあったかさっていうんですかね、来てじゃあ手伝うわみたいな、だから本当言葉にして言うのが失礼なぐらい、嬉しいですね。
With large numbers of people living together in a crowded land, Japanese society developed a system where everyone pooled their efforts to maximize the results and share them equally. This led to a way of life where people pay attention to their neighbors and avoid confrontation. Everyone cooperates and everyone has a place in the community. Economic development has weakened these social relationships, but their memory forms the hidden basis of Japanese society, expressed in the value modern Japanese still place on harmony and polite behavior.